This is a breaking news alert. We are now learning that on July 8th, Donald Trump was so terrified that Iran was going to shoot down Air Force One that he pretended to board the old Air Force One. He told all of the reporters to shut their windows and to shut the shades so that they couldn't see outside. And then Donald Trump was whisked away on a catering truck onto another military airplane, essentially using the reporters on the old Air Force One as bait, pretending he was on that plane while he flew to a UK base in a military aircraft. Then he pretended that he was on the old Air Force One the entire time, then boarded the Qatari Air Force One and flew back to the United States. Then he was asked questions by the press, what was happening, and Donald Trump was like, look, we're all in this together. If I go down, you go down. Except Donald Trump used the reporters on the old Air Force One as bait because Trump was terrified that Iran was going to blow that plane up while Trump was secretly on a military plane. Let's break down the sequence, and I want to bring out the receipts of everything that Donald Trump said and that everything that Donald Trump was posting at that time so we can show what a coward he is. By the way, as one account notes, imagine it, the leader of the free world reduced to shuttling between aircraft in a catering truck in Turkey, having to cower from Iranian assassins. This is what Donald Trump has earned from his weakness in the face of Tehran. The term laughingstock is insufficient. Boy, do I agree with that statement. So Washington Post got the scoop. Trump flew secretly from Turkey to the UK and back to the United States on an alternate military aircraft, unbeknownst to journalists and some White House members who believed that they were on the Air Force One, the old Air Force One, with Donald Trump. They were told to close their windows. They weren't sure why. Now we know why, because a catering truck brought Donald Trump out to the military plane. And remember what Donald Trump then said when he got aboard the Qatari Air Force One at the UK? If I go, you go. Perhaps you want to change professions. Except Donald Trump threw our reporters, not just under the bus, put a bullseye on their heads. That's what a weak coward he is. Here's the article. Contradicting public statements, Trump took secret flight from Turkey amid Iranian threat. The White House said the president was aboard Air Force One as he left a NATO summit. Instead, his departure included an elaborate ruse that concealed his travel. All right, we break this down on the MeidasTouch Network's social media handle very clearly, step by step. So let's just go through it step by step so you understand it, right? The NATO summit was in Ankara, Turkey. So Trump flies to Turkey in the new Qatari gifted Air Force One for the NATO summit, right? It was a deranged NATO summit. Trump was saying all this horrific stuff. We covered it in detail. So then there were Iranian assassination threats against Donald Trump. So that triggers a secret deception operation. So security officials devise a plan to conceal which aircraft Trump is actually traveling on. The Qatari gifted Air Force One leaves Turkey first without Trump. So pause there. Now remember what Donald Trump posted at that time on his social media handle at 8:42 a.m. on July 8th. He acts like he sent the Qatari Air Force One to this UK base, Mildenhall Air Force Base in the UK, as an opportunity for military staffers and service members to tour it and see what a wonderful plane Qatari Air Force One is. This was Trump's post, 8:42 a.m. To honor our brave men and women of the military, we are sending the brand new and truly spectacular Air Force One to Mildenhall Air Force Base in the United Kingdom to give them a chance to tour the aircraft. Everybody is so excited, and we thought that they should be the first. For old time's sake, we'll be taking the former Air Force One from Turkey to Mildenhall, a short trip that is totally worth doing in order to give our great military heroes a chance to appreciate our beautiful new addition to the Air Force fleet. Donald J. Trump. Do you see how he uses our service members, steals their valor, uses them in order to conduct his deception? I just want to honor them by showing them Qatari Air Force One. That's why I'm doing this. When in fact, Donald Trump was going to put a target on the backs of reporters and some of his staffers who were boarding the old Air Force One, not the Qatari Air Force One, because the old Air Force One remained in Turkey. So let's just keep going through the timeline because I wanted to talk about the Qatari gifted Air Force One. Leaves Turkey first. It goes to that UK base. 4. Trump publicly boards the Legacy Air Force One. That was the old Air Force One in that light blue color in Ankara, Turkey, walking up the stairs and waving for cameras, creating the appearance that this is his plane home. Trump secretly exits Air Force One through the other side of the aircraft and gets into an airport catering truck raised to the plane's door. Before that, they put a message out to the reporters and everybody aboard Air Force One, shut your windows. Why? Because they didn't want them to see Trump going in a catering truck, cowering, afraid that Iran was going to kill him like the pathetic little loser weasel that he is. 6. The catering truck drives Trump to a smaller Air Force C-32A, a modified Boeing 757 parked nearby. Trump secretly boards the C-32A. Defense Secretary Hegseth also boards separately. So Trump and Hegseth board the military plane while knowing that the old Air Force One was a potential target by Iran. Reporters and some White House staff board the Legacy Air Force One, apparently unaware Trump is no longer aboard. They are instructed, close your window shades. Remember all that from the reporting at the time? The Legacy Air Force One takes off as a decoy and eventually uses the Air Force One call sign despite Trump not being aboard. Trump's actual C-32A flies secretly to Britain under the nondescript call sign Reach 18 with its normal flight tracking system reportedly switched off. Trump arrives at the Mildenhall, the Royal Air Force Mildenhall base in Britain on the C-32A shortly before the decoy Air Force One arrives. Trump transfers back onto the Legacy Air Force One after landing. The Post says exactly how this transfer occurred remains unclear. Trump then emerges from the Legacy Air Force One, not the Qatari one, in front of the cameras, making it appear as though that was the aircraft he had flown from Turkey. Trump then boards the Qatari gifted Air Force One in Britain and finally flies back to Washington with the press and staff. And then he's asked questions. Remember, we've got that video. A reporter says, were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force One? And so remember, the reporters thought they were on old Air Force One from Turkey to the UK with Donald Trump on that. So now they all transfer to Qatari Air Force One at Mildenhall Royal Air Force Base in the UK. So now they're flying back to the United States, and the reporter's saying, were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force One? Watch the liar lie. Here, play this clip.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force One?
I have a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go. Right?
But was there a specific
so perhaps,
threat today?
Perhaps someday you want to change professions.
Then the reporter asks, what was the security concern that caused us to change planes? Watch the liar lie. And Donald Trump says, well, you're in a dangerous flight. I go, you go. And watch what he says over here as well. Play this clip.
What was the security concern that caused us to change planes?
We sent this one in so that the Air Force Base here was in the same exact line. So you saw, did you see the picture?
We did.
Hundreds of pictures, hundreds of people. Let me see that. Oh, yeah. So you can't see it too well, but there are hundreds of people out there. So they wanted to see, so they came a little bit early, we switched planes.
So you're saying there wasn't a security concern?
No. Why would
there any other issue? No issue?
No, except we sent it a little early. Same line, going back. We sent it a little bit early so that we could let them see it. The whole base came out and saw the plane, and then we landed.
Do you know why they had us close our window blinds? That was not usually.
Well, yeah, because you're, probably on a dangerous slave because of the sleazebags that we have to deal with.
So you think that Iran was possibly taking charge?
Well, I mean, if they asked you to close your windows, probably they'd feel that way. They didn't ask me to close mine, but if they did, I would have done it. No, these are sick people. So I could see something like that. I didn't know they did that, but I could see something like that.
Were you aware of any credible threat by Iran against Air Force
Well, I have
One?
a threat all the time. I'm number one on their list before you. But if I go, you go. Right?
But was there a
So
specific threat today?
perhaps someday you want to change professions.
Now, these Trump propagandists, these MAGA sycophant bootlickers like Nick Sortor, they were posting videos which they claimed was Donald Trump in Ankara boarding the old Air Force One. Trump will board these stairs. You can see it right here. I'm showing you the B-roll of him boarding the stairs right now. You can see him doing this, but he will then be whisked away on a catering truck on the other side and you'll notice, we'll take a look, I circled it right here, that the window shades are closed to allow Donald Trump to escape while having the reporters become a target for the Iranian assassination plot. And then I'll show you this B-roll right here. As Nick Sortor says, wheels up, Trump aboard the old Air Force One headed out of Turkey, a very busy NATO summit. Trump was not on that plane. Trump transferred planes to a military plane at that time. Him and Hegseth were terrified. Now, before Donald Trump left to even get to the Ankara base where the old Air Force One was, Donald Trump held that deranged press conference in Turkey, which was the final press conference he had, and he was asked by reporters what was going on. And I want you to watch as he lies and says, we just wanted our troops to enjoy the Qatari Air Force One at the UK Mildenhall base. Watch the liar lie. Play this clip from that remaining press conference. You can see it for yourself.
I'd like you to address speculation that you're leaving Ankara not in the new Air Force One because of security concerns involving Iran. You've spoken today twice about them possibly assassinating you and possibly being successful. Did that concern have something to do with it?
Well, I speak about it a lot because, the life of a president is very dangerous. It's 5.2%. You know what a race car driver is? 1/10 of 1%. A bull rider, that looks pretty dangerous to me. It's 1/10 of 1%. No, it's 5.2% is you don't make it. You should have told me you're an excellent reporter. You should have told me that years ago. Maybe I wouldn't have run. It's a very dangerous profession. No, I'm number one on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm number one. So I don't know. I can't tell you that, but I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it because we have a country that's hot and really, really successful. But I mention it only because it's on the list. I mean, it came out. There was another list came out yesterday and I'm number one on, I like being number one on TikTok better, but I'm number one on the list for killing. Go ahead.
Hey, Sean McCreesh, New York Times. But why aren't you flying the new plane home?
Say what?
Why aren't you flying on the new Air Force One home?
It's flying to Europe to one of the big bases, 2 or 3 of the big bases where we can show it to the people. And we'll be going home by normal methods. But we have it going to Europe to a couple of bases, actually one in particular, but it's going to go to a couple of bases stop so the soldiers can see it because it's truly magnificent. Yeah, please.
So when you see Donald Trump today say things like, when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, we've mineswept the entire strait, as you probably heard. We control the strait. We've mineswept it. This is what Trump said from the press conference today. Note, he lies about everything. Every word, every sound, every syllable. Quite literally, everything from him is a lie. And he's a coward. He's a coward. He is a weak loser. And again, just think about it. The President of the United States hunkered in a catering truck while using reporters to go on Air Force One as a target for Iran. What a pathetic, freaking weak loser, man. Play this clip.
The mines, we've mine swept the entire strait, as you probably maybe heard, maybe you didn't hear, but we control the strait 100%. Now, can they make trouble? Yeah, they can make trouble. But they're broke. They have no money. Iran is broke.
And then when you see Donald Trump ask today, when will the Strait of Hormuz be open? It's open now. It's open now. Dude lies about everything. Everything. Never, I think, in the history of humankind do you have a liar who this much, quite literally everything, is a fraud. Everything. Play this clip.
Is any estimate of when you think the Strait of Hormuz will be?
Well, it's open now. We're taking a lot of shit. It's open now. Look, the only one that has control of the Strait of Hormuz right now is the United States Navy. We have a blockade that's been infallible. It's a steel wall. And we let people in that we want to let in, and those people come in, and they've been coming in and they're going out. So it's actually open now. We do not let them go into Iran. They're not admitted into the strait to go to Iran.
And then finally today he was asked, so you said this is Iran's last chance. What's going to happen? Oh, you'll find out. Here, play this clip.
Said this last round of talks was Iran's last chance before decapitation. So what now? What comes next?
You'll find out.
Are you still, are massive escalation, is that still on the table?
Well, we have that certainly that ability if we want to do that. Yeah, you'll find out.
You said you're low-keying it.
So utterly pathetic and weak and setting the press up to be killed from Iran while he was scared and went in a little catering box. What a weasel. What a pathetic thing. Vile, weak loser. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Get your copy of WTF America. Pre-order the book I wrote with my brothers now. You could Google search it, WTF America by Ben, Brett, and Jordy Meiselas. Just make sure you get the right one. Thanks for watching.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.